Welcome back to season 4 of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. It's been an amazing ride, and I'm just super excited to be here with you and to end the year strong. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions of me is, how do I maintain my hair? And so I'm more than excited to welcome and converse with Dr. Tiffany Rolle. She's my hairstylist, my friend, a true professional, a wife, a mother, an educator. She is all of the things, and I am super excited to welcome her and have a conversation while she does my hair. So we're treating you guys to a little BTS, a little behind the scenes of how she maintains my hair. So welcome.
Hi. Good day, everyone.
So what are we going to do today, Tiffany?
I'm going to freshen up your hair.
Okay.
And as everyone can see, it has been pre-done partially. And so we're going to freshen it up.
Awesome. How long have you been, or I should ask, when did you decide, or what made you decide to get into cosmetology?
Tanya, believe it or not, I wanted to be a stewardess. Could you believe?
A stewardess?
A stewardess.
That's
And
nice.
then one day, my uncle said, why do you want to be a stewardess?
Uh-huh.
Get a trade. Because if you go to work and they send you home, what are you carrying with you?
Right.
Once you have a trade, it takes you everywhere in the world. And that's what I decided. My aunt was a hairstylist at that time.
Mhm.
And so I said, you know what? I don't have a creative stick in me, but let me give it a try. And I went and I worked with her on Saturdays.
Oh, wow.
And I developed a passion for the field of cosmetology, and
Yeah.
I enrolled in beauty school.
Mhm.
I went right to Bahamas Technical Vocational Institute.
Awesome.
And do you believe that that same school that I went to is the same school that I am presently teaching at?
Wow. So a
So-
full circle moment.
Uh-huh.
Full circle. That's amazing. And so how long have you been in the beauty industry?
I've been in the beauty industry. If I come from high school,
Mm-hmm.
I would say about 30 years, 32 years. Yeah,
Wow.
32
32 years. So I'm sure you've seen and heard it all.
I've seen it all, heard it all.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure you've also seen hairstylists come and go.
Yes, yep. I've seen the hairstylists come. I've seen them gone. I've seen them travel.
Wow.
I've seen hairstyles and trends come and
Mhm.
hairstyles and trends go.
Wow. That's amazing. I have a question. Of course, I always have a question. What has the response been since your name rolled up on the credits for Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn? Because I know I've heard a few stories from you, but what has it really been like as far as the general public's response to seeing your name, hairstylist Dr. Tiffany Rolle? What's that been like?
Well, first of all, everybody wants to know if Tanya comes to the salon every day. Because every day Tanya hairstyle looks good. And my
Right.
answer to them is no. Tanya can manage her hair
Right?
very well. So she
Mhm.
comes either every week or every other week. It
Yeah.
all depends on how active Tanya is. Because
Mhm.
as we all know, Tanya has a very busy schedule.
Mm-hmm. And we exercise.
And you exercise.
Yeah.
You exercise basically every day.
I about three times a week now. If my trainer watches this episode, he might be like, But the goal is 3 times a week.
Yeah, so they
it's
want to
pretty
know.
active.
They want to know,
Mhm.
what do you do
Yeah.
in terms of maintaining this short pixie hairstyle?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly tell them Tanya can handle her hair.
Yeah.
Once the sides are tapered,
Mm-hmm.
you can manage the top.
Yeah. I find that usually I would like when people ask, I honestly I jump in the shower in terms of, after I would have worked out or when I get up in the mornings. I typically jump in the shower. I wear a shower cap for sure. And once I would have come out of the shower, the steam from the shower itself kind of lends to a little bit of moisture. And so typically I would just, brush the sides and then just put the wrap cap, maybe throw some oil, maybe some oil sheen on it or something. And then go, to be honest, maybe a little bit of, maybe a little, or spray oil, something like that. And that would be it, to be honest.
Right.
Because I feel once you have a pretty good cut, you're good.
You're good.
Mhm.
Yes. And once you have a good protective serum, which protects against the elements, it really
Ah.
helps. And so that's what I tend to put on your hair.
Yeah.
I will put the Design Essentials, Silk Essentials on
Yeah.
your hair, the thermal smoothing, protecting,
Yeah.
strengthening, protecting on your hair.
Okay.
And so that also aids in that heat,
Mhm.
protecting your heat and keeping the moisture in your hair.
Okay. So in terms of, we live in a country where there is, oh my God, amazing humidity. How do women tend to deal with humidity once they would have, because once they've left your chair, the hair is gorgeous. And then humidity, plays a role. How do they handle things like that, or do you prep the hair prior to walking out of the salon?
Humidity and salt is a
Ah.
common issue in the Bahamas.
Okay.
And once you have a good shampoo,
Mm-hmm.
a good shampoo regimen,
Yeah.
because you have to remove all of that salt and moisture before you can apply any additional product to the hair.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have a good shampoo
Mm-hmm.
done to your hair, a good moisture treatment done to your hair, it helps eliminate that salt from out of the hair. However, you still have to keep the hair moist
Mhm.
throughout that time, because hot curling the hair tends to dry the hair out. And with pixie haircuts,
Mhm.
you frequent with that hot curl. And like I said earlier, using a heat protector, it helps to prevent any heat damage done to the hair whilst you're curling.
Wow. So to wrap up this segment, what advice would you give women with shortcuts, or I guess just in general, in order for them to maintain the hair once they've left the salon and they probably won't have another visit for another, I don't know, week or 2 or 3?
Okay. If you shower, if you are a person who showers in the morning, you want to use a shower cap,
Mm-hmm.
but you want that shower cap to cover your hair.
Okay.
You don't want it to cover above the hair,
Well,
because
I
if it
learned something
covers
new.
right, if it covers below the hair,
Mhm.
you catch all of those areas down here.
Okay.
So all of this area down here would be covered.
Okay.
And when you come out of the shower, the first thing you would do is get your silk scarf or your satin scarf, and you would tie around like the Aunt Jemima.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you would tie that hair, because you want to keep your sides flat.
Okay.
Once your sides are flat,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about the top, because the curls are going to stay. They're not going to come out.
Okay.
So satin scarf, cover behind your ear or
Mhm.
over the ear with your shower cap, and that works perfect. After you put on your makeup, put on your clothes, get those children ready, you are all set to take that scarf off your hair, because this will be dry.
Okay.
Then you will get your polisher.
Mm-hmm.
You get your silk polisher.
Mm-hmm.
You apply it to the hair, to your hands,
Okay.
and you will emulsify it. Once you emulsify it in your hands, rub that through the hair, which will add shine. And then you take your hands and you just fluff it up.
This is the best part. This right
Yeah,
here.
just
This
fluff
part.
it up. And so most of the time you see Tanya on the set or doing her little videos, and she'll be doing this. So that curl is not gonna go anywhere. Anywhere. If it's a good curl, it's not gonna go anywhere.
Awesome.
And you can spray it with oil sheen, like just to keep that moisture in the hair. And that's it.
Awesome. All right. When we get back, we're going to chat with Tiffany a bit about motherhood, her journey to motherhood, and a few other little tidbits in between. See you soon. And we're back from the break. My hair is done. I'm feeling good. I'm ready for my conversation with Dr. Tiffany Rolle. She has me feeling amazing. Welcome to this conversation.
Welcome.
So we're going to talk a little bit about your journey to motherhood, because I'm not sure if everybody knows that Tiffany is a mom. I'm super happy for her, and she's grooming a boy. So it's interesting that you're a cosmetologist and you have a boy. Did you in all of your planning your life, did you ever think, oh my gosh, I get to do every woman's hair. I'd love to have a little girl. If you had a choice, which would you have preferred?
I would go tell a boy.
Really?
Yes, I would choose a boy any day.
Because girls
Girls are a lot of work.
especially their hair.
Especially their hair. Even though I'm a hairstylist.
Yeah.
Boy could get their hair cut $10, $15, $20
Yeah.
and they good to go.
And I imagine that your little girl would have been sitting in your chair like every week.
Probably every day. Every day.
Yeah.
Mommy
my
do
goodness.
this, mommy do that, mommy
Yeah.
do the next. No.
And then you probably would have had mom guilt from wanting to do her hair anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at my hair, Tanya, I don't have hair in my hair. And my hair was long when I was growing up. So that tells
Yes.
you that low maintenance is the key for me.
For sure, for
Yes.
sure. Well, I second that. So we're gonna talk a little bit about your journey to motherhood. How one of the questions that I've always wanted to ask was how you balance. So this is a twofold question: how you balance motherhood and being a cosmetologist, and motherhood and being an educator now that you're in the classroom.
Tanya, the struggle is real, real, real. And I always tell people thanks to COVID because I was able to downsize. You should know that my store, Style Salon, had 10 people inside there.
Yeah.
So being an educator, mother, wife, and a hairstylist, it was struggle. Sundays was my to-go day for my family.
Right.
And from then to now, I said that I am not doing nobody here. I'm not doing anything for no one, but my focus is on my family, because Monday to Saturday, I work. And you have to sacrifice. I had to take time for my family, for my son and for my husband.
And for yourself.
And for myself. And if it's just an hour of the day for myself, the evenings was for my family.
Yeah.
Coming out the store at the salon, I used to come out 9 o'clock. So the time was limited.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it had to be one day I had to take for them.
Yeah. And did you find the longer you spent in cosmetology, the more hours you spent in it? Or was it the first, you said you've been in cosmetology for about 30 years. Would you say the first 15 years you spent the longer hours, and the last 15 years you started kind of like peeling back?
No, I would say at the beginning, because I had to develop a clientele base.
Right.
So the flexibilities was a little bit easier. However, I didn't have a child.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as time progressed, my clientele started to develop. And I started to work as a professional hair care technician for Lowe's.
Okay.
And that generated more client base. And so my career just took off.
Wow.
It took off.
Wow. How long would you say it took for your career to take off?
To take off, I would probably say about 7 years. 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 is the number of completion, I think.
Yeah, 7, I guess.
Oh, that's amazing.
About 7 years.
Yeah. So now you're 7 years in, and your clientele has grown. You can make a couple coins. You can take care of yourself. It's you and your husband. At what point did you decide, okay, I think I want to have kids, because this is my career is pretty stable right now. I have a good clientele going. I have a good base. At what point did you decide I want to start, or we want to start trying for kids?
Growing up, I didn't want no kids. I always used to say, I don't want any children. I don't want any children. I said, God, please curse this womb. I don't
What?
want any children. That's what I said growing up.
Is there a reason why?
I think because I grew up with a big family.
Ah.
My parents had 10 children, or have 10 children.
10 children?
Yes, and I'm the middle child. So
God bless their
I had
hearts.
to deal with the older kids telling me what to do with the younger kids, and then I had to deal with the younger kids because they always come to me because I was always there. And so I always said I didn't want no kids, and then my husband wanted kids.
Okay.
He wanted kids, and so the journey to parenting, I did it because my husband wanted kids, and I wanted to give him that satisfaction of having someone that he can call his child,
Yeah.
or took his name.
Awesome. And I think we talked about your balancing work and home.
Right.
I don't think we talked about balancing being a wife and being in the classroom.
Uh-huh.
So well, first of all, how did you decide to venture out of the salon to go into education? This would be education with cosmetology as well.
Yes.
What made you decide to go into the education aspect of it?
At BTVI, you don't mind me calling this name, my name.
Mm-hmm.
At BTVI, at first I was an adjunct,
Okay.
because with an adjunct, when they approached me, I told them I'll give them 2 days
Okay.
because I was still in the salon.
Okay.
And I see that my schedule was still so tight,
Mhm.
and I was missing out on my family, and
Okay.
they was getting left behind because
Okay.
you have to choose either career or family.
Mhm.
Career or family, which one weights the most?
Right.
And I see that my family started to get left behind.
Okay.
I was neglecting them as a mother and as a wife.
Okay.
And so when I got the opportunity which was September,
Mhm.
to come on, actually August, to come on full time, I said, you know what, let me just face the salon part of it, because my flexibility as an educator, once I teach, I can leave. I don't have to worry about staying in the salon
Yeah.
9, 10 o'clock every day.
Right.
Only if I have to go on campus and come out at 10. But if I come out at 10, my class starts at 6.
Right.
So I was able to juggle and manage that better and focus more on my family.
Okay. Wow. And so now your career is pretty stable. You know, you're between a BTVI or education as well as the salon.
Right.
And so now you've decided, both your husband and yourself have decided that you want to have kids. Tell us a little bit about your journey to motherhood.
To motherhood. I don't know if you know, Tonya, that my journey to motherhood was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I had 4 surgeries. My first surgery, I didn't get cut. They went in and they removed, I had some polyps, and so they removed the polyps and everything out of there. My second surgery was when I found out that I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant, but you know, you just have that sensation in your breast and
Yes.
all of that, everything that say that you're pregnant.
Yes.
And so I told my husband, I said, I believe I'm pregnant. Let's go and get it. Just
Check
take
out,
a pregnancy
yeah.
test.
Yeah.
And I called my sister, and she said I must go and find an OBGYN, which I did. And they told me to go and do a scan.
Okay.
And so in the process of me doing the scan, the technician said that, are you sure you're pregnant? And I said, well, the 2 pregnancy tests that I took said it was positive.
Yeah.
So he said, you sure? So I said, yes, I'm really sure. So he said, I don't see anything in your womb.
Wow.
And so he said, give me a second. He went out the room, he came back, and he did the next test. And then he told me I must go and sit up in the bench because somebody needs to speak with me. And so my heart dropped at that moment because even though I didn't want a child, the excitement of knowing that I was pregnant, it was a joy in my heart. To have a child in you, it was a sense of joy and peace.
Yeah.
And sitting there, then this lady came in and she was rubbing up her belly and she asked me if I was okay, and I burst out in tears.
Oh my.
And when I went into the room, the lady said, you have an ectopic pregnancy. And I said, ectopic pregnancy. I didn't even know what was an
What it was,
ectopic
yeah.
pregnancy. I didn't know. That was the first time I heard that. So she said it's a tubal pregnancy. So I said, tubal pregnancy. I'd say now, well, they could probably do something and the baby will survive.
Right.
So she said, you need to go to the hospital. You decide which hospital you want to go to. I called my sister, who is a midwife, and she said to meet her at the hospital. And I went to the hospital. And at the hospital, they was like, more than likely, they're going to send you home. And my sister said, they're not sending her nowhere. And they rushed me into the hospital. And do you know that weekend, I was scheduled to travel to Exuma to do a wedding, a bridal party.
Right.
So whilst they was hooking me up to all these strips and stuff, I'm calling the bride and telling her that I am unable to do a wedding. And she was like, what you talking about?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so I said, I'm going into surgery right now. And the doctor had to take the phone because he had to calm me down.
Right.
I went into the surgery, and on the surgery table, I coded.
What?
Yes, I coded. And so found out that I was allergic to some drug that I got before the surgery. And I came back, thank God. And so we decided to I decided to go to an OBGYN that one of my friends recommended me to, who deals with high risk pregnancies.
Yeah.
And I went to her. I got pregnant again. And in that process of being pregnant, I hemorrhaged the pregnancy yolk because it was at the early stage. So that's my second pregnancy.
Wow.
And the third pregnancy, she said, well, why don't you try go and do IVF? And which we did travel, we did do the IVF. And in doing the IVF, I got pregnant. And I was working, and because I'm loyal to my call
To
of
a fault.
cosmetology,
Yeah.
she said, you have to go on bed rest, Tiffany. And I hated Thursdays because the first time I had to get that surgery with the ectopic, it was a Thursday. And on that Thursday, again, I was at work and I was supposed to be on bed rest because I was preparing for another bride.
So you disregarded what the doctor said.
Right. And because I had to prepare for another bridal party that I committed myself to,
Yeah.
I decided to work that Thursday, and I went to the restroom. And when I went in the restroom at my store, a clot came out in the toilet.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so I called the doctor and I said, a clot came out in the toilet. So she said, where you at? I said, I'm at work. And she said, you're supposed to be on bed rest.
Correct.
So she said, I need you to go and rest, and I need you to come to me tomorrow. And when I went to her that Friday, no, not tomorrow. She said, I need you to come to me right away. She said, sorry. And when I went there, she said, the next day, that Friday, I need you to go to the hospital and I need you to do a scan. And when I went and did the scan the other day, after the scan, the doctor said, sit on the bench. So I hated Thursdays and I hate that word, sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And so they called the doctor. So she called me back. She called and she said, let me speak to you. She said, Therese, we have to rush you into surgery. You might not wake up. You might have this. This is the problem. And if anything is to happen, you're gonna end up with something in your neck. I think I can't remember what it was. But anyway, so they rushed me into surgery again. And before we went into surgery, I could have had a baby's heart. It was 2, because I was pregnant with twins that time, and they said, we can hear the heartbeat. That's what the technician said. But he said, is this your first pregnancy? I said, I was pregnant before, but I lost it and I had an ectopic. And so he said, well, you have to sit on the bench. And the doctor rushed me in, and she said, we have to abort the pregnancy because it's a matter of life and death. The 2 babies was implanted in my cervix area, which means it's an ectopic pregnancy, but it's not in the tube.
Okay.
Right. So that was the next surgery that I had. And I decided after I came out, because I coded again in that surgery.
Okay.
So she said, we can't give you no painkillers. So I had to endure the pain of not having painkillers after surgery.
Wow.
That I told my husband inside the hospital room, I said, I am not putting myself through this anymore because it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
Mentally, it's traumatizing, and physically, it was traumatizing on my body. I said, we just decide to enjoy life, travel, and enjoy each other. And the doctor came in, and I told her that too, and she agreed to it. And with that, and that's what we did.
Wow. Your story is so powerful, and I feel like this is going to free someone who has gone through the same thing. On that note, we'll be right back. My name is Tanya Lightbourne. I'm a wife, mom, lifestyle influencer, marketing maven, and now your host. In 2020, at the start of the corona pandemic, I felt the need to create a sense of community and talk with women. Let's Chat with Tanya Lightbourne was birthed out of such an uncertain time. The idea behind this movement is to create a forum for mothers who are at the top of their game, inspirational and aspirational. Women who redefine what it means to be strong. We chat about life, parenting, entrepreneurship, business, and everything else in between. Advertise with us and become a part of the conversation with over 5,000 social followers. Let's Chat with Tanya Lightbourne, created for moms by a mom. We're back from the break, and today we're talking about adoption. So Tiffany, I want to talk a little bit about your path to parenting. So you would have gone through a very traumatic experience. And I feel like there are women in our community, some that we know, some that we don't, who go through this period in their life, and there's such a stigma attached. There's also, I feel to a certain extent, a stigma attached to couples who have been married for some time, but for whatever reason, whether they choose to or not, but to the general public, it looks like they just don't have kids. And so along with that comes, well, why don't they have kids? What's going on, etc. If you're not the type of couple to put that information out there, there's always thoughts and opinions, etc. on why it should happen, when it should happen now, Did you feel pressure to have kids now that your career had been established, etc.?
I didn't feel pressure to have kids. But what I can say was people tried to add pressure to me to have kids because they didn't know our story.
Right.
They really didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to one of the tubes being removed, I also had one of my ovaries removed with my surgery.
Yeah.
And working in the store, they always used to say, they always used to say to me, why you're not pregnant? What happened? And one person walked in our store one day and she said, you ain't pregnant yet? What happened? Your husband shooting blanks? And so that pulled everything in me because she didn't know what our struggle is.
Right.
She really didn't know what the struggle was.
Yeah.
And so the public look at you and they judge you because you've been married for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but you don't go there and publicize that, hey, I had 4 surgeries or hey, I lost 3 pregnancies.
Yeah.
You don't do that. And so when people don't know your story, they add a stigma to you.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel pressure. I just felt that the public tried to add pressure to us having kids.
Well, I'm happy that you were strong and you were able to, you and your husband, because you're both a team, and you were able to get through that period and just, focus on both of you and your family. And you were able to just, like I said, get through that time. So in terms of adoption, what would you say, would you recommend it? What are maybe 1 or 2 disadvantages or advantages to adoption and the joy that comes along with it?
I would also say with instead of recommending adoption, choose your path. Know if that's the direction you want to go into.
Okay.
Do your research, do your investigation. Adoption isn't for everyone because the advantages is you have a child, but the disadvantages is it's not your biological child. You have to learn to grow to love that child like that child born within you. And I tell my son, I said, you didn't come from my tummy, but you came into my heart.
Yeah.
And so it plays on the child. If you tell the child that their child was adopted, it plays on them because they want to know who their parents are.
Right.
If you don't tell them, somebody else might go there and tell them. So you have to know if you're ready to face whatever circumstances will come your way in that process of adoption, that journey of adoption.
Yeah. And from start to finish, how long for the average person that's out there, or the average mom or couple that's out there and they want perhaps to explore that option, how long would you say the process was from start to finish?
2 years, I would say about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
But you know my story.
Yeah.
It was a little longer.
Yeah.
Based on my story.
Okay.
But I would say about 2 to 3 years.
Okay. I want to say that, I mean, it's evident that your son has brought so much joy to your lives, both you and your husband. And I always feel like it's never too late, you know? I always feel like you're never too old, even though you might feel like, oh my gosh, I just started this parenting journey. But I always feel like God knows the right time in which things are supposed to happen. And so for the viewing public, would you mind sharing a few final thoughts on just adoption in general?
Do your research. See if that's the right path for you to go into. Make sure that you know and your husband agrees. You and your husband come to one agreement. Always consult price first. Always put God at the head of your life because He will direct your footsteps. Adoption isn't for everyone. Having a child, birthing a child isn't for everyone. So you choose your path. Do not follow the crowd. Do not let no one pressure you. No family, no friends pressure you because you know how your relationship is. And everything will work out for you.
And on that note, we wrap our first episode of the season of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. A special thanks to my guest, Dr. Tiffany Rolle, and my media partners, Fusion Superplex and Mako Consult. We'll see you on another episode, which is going to be soon, of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. Follow us on social media at Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you soon.